Good morning, everyone. How are you doing on this rainy Tuesday, Ohio day? Need my measuring wheel. I think we're ready to roll. So the bad weather has moved into our area. Oh yeah, big shout out to Sean Boy. I owe him, I think, $3 or $4. But we got change in the truck. And TQ said she now knows what she's gonna get me for Christmas. Going up that ramp, the way the dolly feature is on the TGS 1100, it folds up underneath, okay? So trying to go up the ramp, it wanted to fold on me, made it a little bit difficult. All right, guys, so just brought some things. I don't know exactly what I'm gonna use. I guess it's gonna depend on if I can use what I think I'm gonna use, which is right behind me. I've changed my plans where I'm going to put the salt bin, simply because where we originally were gonna put it down by the building, as big as it's going to be, which we're going to do a 20 wide 30 deep with a hoop top, it would completely block the left side of the building off, and I don't like the way it looks. After kind of doing some mock drawings and everything, it would work. It just takes away from the building and takes away from the value, I think, of what we're going to put into the building. So the building is going to look really nice. It's going to have parking around it, you know, garage access, yada yada yada. And yeah, I don't think we want a salt bin right next to it, and it kind of hinders us also if we ever need to expand left, right, out, back. So these buildings, the pole buildings that we're going to build, you can build on them. So where I'm thinking about building the salt bin is right here, right where the camper is pretty much. So the camper was going to go regardless. Just simply, we've been waiting to break into it because the windows are knocked out of it, and I'm assuming there's probably some creatures living in it. And one of those creatures throughout the summer that I know were in there were bees. And old Sean isn't a fan of bees, okay? I've had my fair share of pokey pokes and sticky sticks, and it doesn't feel good. So that's why we've been waiting a little bit colder weather, waiting for a little bit colder weather. But first and foremost, I gotta make sure this area is big enough to accommodate our salt dome, because I might have to take a tree out or two. I'm hoping not, but we need 20 wide, 30 deep. Let's get to it. So I'm pretty much gonna start right to the left side of that tree there. And we'll see how far we can get with 20 foot. Those over there I wouldn't mind taking out. This one I would really like to keep. Feet. All right, so I'm a lot more happy with this spot compared to down here where we were talking about on the left side, just because when you come in the driveway, I didn't want to be looking at a salt dome. It just kind of changed things. Originally, that's what we were thinking, but yeah, I was kind of in my mind originally imagining the salt bin and the firewood bin being back kind of off center of the building being more towards the front of the property. But if we don't want to take more trees out, we got to have it where it is. So I like this location. Believe it or not, this will save me probably a ton of money, because down there, as you guys know, we had to bring that pad up 4.5 feet. So we had to bring in a ton of big, thick material and then compaction material. Up here, we might actually just have to take down a little bit, which wouldn't be a big deal. I might even leave it a bit graded towards the front so the water runoff will come on out, and that'll keep weather out of it, because the dome that we're purchasing actually has a flap on the front of it, I believe, and that'll help also keep the weather off of it. And if we need to, we can also do a temporary tarp This just gets us through winter, and once that salt, if that salt bin is empty through the spring and summer, it would probably just be garage storage for one of the trucks or both trucks to sit parking it in there. We'll clean it out, park the trucks under there, and then they'll be good to go. We can also put tractors, skid loader, you name it, we can park it under there. There's going to be a lot of equipment stored here to manage the property, let alone what we use in the business. So yeah, you guys let me know what you think. I guess I'll map it out real quick with the paint, just kind of give you a rough idea. Man, that line is straight as it can be. And then obviously we'll just go across the front as well. So there you have it. That's my rough, very rough drawing of what we're thinking here for the salt bin, and God willing, the weather will stay decent and we'll be able to get this in here. So believe it or not, we've been trying to get blocks for about a month. A lot of the cement companies in our area don't have any, and that's because a lot of contractors are using them up, and that's a big part of it. So what happens is the concrete companies, what they do is typically they'll have extra concrete left over from a job when they bring the big mixer truck out. Well, instead of throwing that away or pouring it off like they did for a long time, or taking it back to the place and dumping it, they started putting them in the molds, and they would start making molds out of them. And those are the big jumbo blocks that you see people using for mulch bins and salt bins and woods, firewood storage, all kinds of uses for them. There's people that have built homes out of them. I mean, it's absolutely insane. They're like Legos, you know? So I got you here real quick. Let's hop into some of what the features are going to be here right now, because some of them are going to be temporary just to get us through this winter 2022. So we're going to put down a gravel pad for now, okay? And what we're going to do is we're actually going to sacrifice a layer of sand at the bottom, because we're not going to dig all the way down. We don't want gravel going into our salt spreader. So we know we're going to lose a little bit there, but we're okay with that because we're going to make up for it on not having to drive 20 minutes to get salt, 20 minutes back, and doing that multiple times a night. We can literally, our entire route, you know, will be within driving distance of where our property is, and that will help us out a ton. Let alone, we can come here before an event and we can get set up. We can also come here after an event, any excess, and we'll be able to put it back in there for the next event. So yeah, gravel is going to be down. Next year, we'll probably do a cement pad or blacktop once the weather is better and we can get that taken care of. Probably going to be 3-tier jumbo blocks all the way around. The front will be open, and then there'll be a hoop top. And I know some of you are going to wonder, how much can we put in here? They deliver 25 ton at a time, which that's perfectly fine. We'll probably start off with a good 25 ton, but we'll probably end up having a few different loads, if not 3 loads, depending on how bad our winter is compared to last year. Last year was really bad. We did about 53 to 55 ton roughly. So if you're new here to Spencer Lawn Care, the process that we're about to embark on here is a new process for us here on our property that we purchased, okay? This has been a long-term process, I'll say it like that as well, and a tier effect, okay? So stepping stones to get to where we can have our own bulk salt on site and take care of our clients that way. So what we did is we started off with a TGS 1100, getting skids of salt, loading them into the TGS 1100, and then spreading them. After we got up to 2 skids a night, it just became too much, too backbreaking, you know, opening them up, dumping them, opening them up, dumping them. It just became too much. So then we said, hey, we need to take the next step. Let's get a VBX 8000. So we did that. We went to bulk salt. That was phenomenal because, you know, we went from buying skids of salt, which were $220 to $275 a skid, depending on, you know, availability and the time of the season, to down where we were getting it bulk salt, buying it from a provider, having to drive 20 minutes there, 20 minutes back. But it brought us down almost, I think, over $100, $110 per ton, I guess you could say. Now with this being the next step, we'll be able to bring in our own bulk salt, get it at an even better price, be our own provider, and we'll save even more on top of that. Do you see how it progresses throughout the years? So don't just always assume it was like boom and everybody just hopped right to being where they're at. A lot of times it's a stepping stone. Yes, there are people that started off better financially than others, but you can't compare yourself to other people. You can only compare yourself to you in your business. And if I compare myself to where we were, Spencer Lawn Care, back in 2017, when we started back into snow, we're light years ahead. Okay, yes, it is 5 years later, 6 years almost. I mean, we're almost into 23 now, but we had a plan. We stuck to that plan. We saved our money. We reinvested it where we needed to. The second thing we needed was another plow, so we went and got that. All this year, 2022, I tried to get another VBX 8000 bulk spreader, okay? They kept telling me February they were getting in a shipment. They got them in February, and none have been available at my local dealer. I personally, if a dealer contacts me via my email, spencerslc84@gmail.com. Can you tell I don't do the email? If somebody reaches out through the email, spencerslc84@gmail.com, and says, hey, I have a bulk spreader, it's brand new, this is the price I want for it, you can pick it up or you can ship it to me one way or another, I'm your customer right now. I'm not kidding you. As long, I know what these cost, I know what they sell for, so as long as it's somebody not trying to rip me off, you know, we can make this happen. I am looking for another bulk salt spreader. But let's get on out of here because it is kind of misty in the air. I know you guys probably can't see it, but it has rained all night long and the weather is not looking good going into the rest of this week. But it looks like for the Spencer Pro event, it's going to be all sunshines and rainbows. But make sure you bring a coat because it's Ohio. It's always cold. Kimberly, Robert, cleaned up, ready to rock. All right, so before I left, I went ahead and fired up the heaters in the garage. I think we were at 63 degrees whenever I came in, but I had to open the door for a second, so I'm sure it dropped quite a bit. But in reality, it's only probably about 45 out today, maybe, just raining and nasty. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna let the salt spreader sit in here and dry for about an hour or so, let all the water run out of it. And then fluid film, guys. This stuff is your friend if you're in the snow game, okay? Even if you're not in the snow game, this stuff is great. But if you are in the snow game, this is your friend. Soak your plows in it, all of your gear, you know, your ratchets, all that stuff helps out phenomenally and just makes life a lot easier. Because if you don't know, salt, snow, moisture, it's a combination for rust and corrosion. And yeah, you don't need all that drama in your life. So I'm gonna let this baby dry up. Some of you were asking, you know, like what kind of shape's it in, you know? And to me, it's still in decent shape. I mean, it's got rust here and there, but like this stuff is just all surface rust, if you know what I'm saying. It's not like into the unit itself. So yeah, cleaned up really, really well. The ratchets, I mean, they look horrible, but they still work. So not a big deal as well. We had those serviced every year up at Terry's, and hit them baby with some fluid film and they'll work just fine. So hopefully this works for a long time for those guys. Like I said, I'm gonna open it up, let it dry out. I put the hook mount in the inside there, and then I put the little pin right there as well. So I'm gonna leave this open so it'll get some moisture or some air inside of here as well to just dry it all up. Don't really got a fluid film in there, but everything down here, that's a moving part, we like the fluid film. So I just noticed right when I shut the camera off that my heater over here was off. So I had it set at 65 degrees. So at some point it hit 65 in here and then just shut off. And then, you know, obviously it's got to go back up now because it's cooler again. But yeah, pretty darn cool. So I guess I'll answer some of your questions while I'm putting the truck and trailer away, because I know you guys are going to ask. And the biggest one is going to be, why don't you just keep it, Sean? Why don't you just keep the TGS 1100? And simply, guys, it's nothing against the spreader. It's just simply it can't do our jobs anymore that we need it to do. We salt way too much compared to what that thing can handle. If you're doing a skid of salt and under, that thing is great. Now, don't get me wrong, it can hold, I believe it's 800 pound if I remember correctly. So it holds a lot. I don't remember, 15, I think it was 15 bags of salt it'll hold. Maybe 16, I don't remember. It's been 2-3 years now since we used it last. But yeah, it can hold a ton of salt. Just simply, it's how you get the salt into that thing. So yeah, if it wasn't like a big deal, like we had a small loader or something where we could load bulk right into it, you know, it might be a possibility to keep it, you know, for some extra jobs here and there or whatever, maybe even another truck, because the snow is something that we're really looking to expand and put somebody into a truck. It's just finding the right person that can get qualified through insurance and has license and all of that good stuff. So yeah, if any of you guys are in our area, you know some of the snow game, or even if you're not, even if you don't know the snow game, but have a good driving record, you're of age to get approved for insurance, all that good stuff, you know, reach out to us, email us, and we can see if we can make something happen. We are looking to put somebody in another truck, one of our trucks for now, and didn't spill my energy drink, and be able to rock it out like that. Probably TQ myself would be in another one, or, you know, like last year, we don't want to run into the debacle if we go out of state or out of town for something, event or whatever, where we have to rush back and can't partake in what we spent a ton of money to do. But yeah, oh my goodness. This place is packed to the brim with event stuff. But next week, it'll all be empty because the event's this weekend. Hope you guys enjoyed today's video. As always, keep mowing, keep growing, keep making money, boys. Talk to you later. TQ up. Peace. Bye-bye.